Hey guys, it's Roderick. I'm here with another episode review of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 13, Episode 11, I Smell a Rat. Okay, I know y'all are like, Bish, here you go, but I know I've totally backslidden, but I am doing better, okay? So anyway, I apologize for the late-ish review. Anyway, okay, so first we start off, I want to do a couple of housekeeping things. Shout out to Rox for that term, right? Because last week after the episode that I posted my review, I kind of ended up getting in this like little kind of Twitter tiff with this woman about the Real Housewives, and I want to kind of set some things straight, right? Number one, okay? I am not a like YouTuber, blogger, whatever. This is just something that's really fun for me, right? I've been watching the show for like 13 seasons. I decided to, you know what? Why don't I hop on camera, talk about it, see who wants to kiki with me or not, right? Number two, if you go back and watch my primer that I did before the season started, I lay out everything, all my thoughts, my theories, my likes, my dislikes about most of the women on this show. And very few of them have changed, with the exception of Dolores, who has substantially surprised me this season. I have been consistent about what I've thought for these women for the most part on this show. I don't have a favorite. I don't have an anti-favorite. What I have is years of experience of being a little bit older and not a person who is moved purely by emotion, but really more by logic, right? There's a difference between when a situation hits you at 27, the one does hit you at 37, the one hits you at 47, right? So I have a little bit more maturity in age, and I think a lot of people watching this show that I'm just not caught up in the whole emotionality of the situation and can bring a little kind of objective rationality. I also bring the fact that I know how a scene is crafted as a filmmaker and can understand and discern when there are some back puppets in the background marionetting a scene to make it be what it is, right? And the question always, especially with the Bravo franchises, is how much is this producer marionetting and how much is it really the actual vulnerability that's being shown, right? So anyway, that being said, I ain't got no favorites. I call them as I see it. If you don't like what I see, change what I see, right? Because that's just going to be what it's going to be, okay? So let's start off with this episode. So the bachelor party continues. It's cute, you know, it's whatever. Bop, 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 that boop. And so the next day we wake up, they kind of empty, you know, so they get ready for breakfast, whatever. Marge empties her entire petty account, right? Like, you know, everyone has like a certain petty account of how petty you can be. I like go text my best friend, I'm like, oh, petty account withdrawal, right? So Marge emptied her entire petty account, right? Her whole Scrooge McDuck petty account by wearing a t-shirt that says endorsed. So petty, but also kind of funny, right? It's a type of thing where you kind of, if you had a sense of humor, a sense of self-deprecation about your show, if you can kind of chuckle off, like, you know, it is pretty funny, right? So then they're all kind of like at the table, right? And they're like eating whatever. Mind you, Danielle's the last person to show up, right? Which again just reeks of producer marionetting, right? Because Melissa then has to spill the beans that Danielle called Rachel a rat. In which I was like, okay, that's very convenient because Danielle's not here. So then Danielle shows up and this whole big awkward pause. Let's get into this rat business for the final time, right? So I recognize that culturally being called a rat is a very offensive term. But like all offensive terms, I feel like a lot of people are caught up in being in the offense of being called something as opposed to the substance as to why you're called something, right? If you don't want to be called a rat, don't do ratty things. It's like being called a racist. More people are more offended at being called a racist as opposed to doing racist things, right? So let's go back, right? Danielle is a rat. She went and told Margaret what Teresa and Jennifer said to her. A rat is pretty much an informant, a CI who used to like inform from the mob and go back and inform to the cops what was going on. That's exactly what Danielle did. Teresa and Jen told her something. Danielle went back and then told what was said. That's ratty behavior, right? Just plain and simple. Rachel is a rat, right? Rachel went back and told what Danielle said. regardless of why it was said, it's still ratty-esque behavior. So they're both rats, okay? So I feel like Rachel is more offended at the fact that she's being called a rat, and she's trying to discern the reason what she did. And Danielle, unfortunately, as I'll explain later, is end up going to be this season's biggest tragic victim of this whole situation. Because as I watched this episode, it was not until this breakfast situation that I realized that, Danielle is being set up. Like, Danielle is literally being set up, and that I must give Teresa a good slow clap, because this is and has been a trap from the beginning. So I'll start off with, I'm going to slow walk you through this trap, okay? Since we're talking about the rat situation, it kind of ties up to everything. Okay, let's go back. Teresa and Jennifer Aydin show up at Danielle's daughter's birthday party. What do they say to Danielle? They said, you have to watch out for Marge. She has an arsenal. You never know what she's going to say, okay? Now, previous to that, Jennifer Aydin and Teresa had to have a conversation with Laura. We don't see the conversation with Laura. Why do we not see the conversation with Laura? Because if anything the Housewives franchise has learned since the Phaedra Candy Portia situation is that you cannot be airing negligently intentional defamatory situations, right? The Housewives can't sue each other for, intentional torts or defamation or slander or things that they're saying. There is open potential liability if it affects their business, as with Portia and the whole Candy situation, right? But the woman on the phone, Laura, is not covered by that contract. And if Bravo lets that information out there, they may be protected from intentional torts or potential negligence torts, but the subsequent business effects that could have from out there, Bravo is not shielded from liability. So that's why they can't have Laura spill the beans on the phone, right? Because they've learned from the whole Kim G situation, having miscellaneous people kind of come on the show and do it. I think there's a potential liability situation. So this is what Teresa does, and this is why it's a trap, okay? Teresa says, I want to get Marge back because last year Marge went and was bringing up all this shit about Louis, and that's not really fun or nice. And I know Marge knew this information. She should know better. I want to get Melissa back for not defending me. Okay. Now, how do we do this? Right? We find out there's a vicious rumor that's about Melissa that Marge knows. Right? So now what's going to happen is, but Teresa can't let this rumor out, right? Because then Teresa will end up being the instant villain. Jennifer Aydin can't really let this rumor out because Jennifer Aydin has just is spending this whole season talking about how Marge told a rumor that affected her children. So then she kind of looks like a hypocrite if she lets this rumor out, right? So who do they get to let the rumor out? They find Danielle. So they plant the seed in Danielle's mind that Marge has an arsenal. They come to her defense when she's being unduly attacked about the whole brother situation, right? Literally kind of, I don't use the word, just really indoctrinating her into their camp, right? Then they tell the rumor, right? Jennifer Aydin tells Danielle the rumor, but then says, don't say anything, don't say anything, don't say anything. So when Danielle shows up at brunch and the conversation about Marge having an arsenal, notice where the camera went. We got big wide shots on the scene, and then we got our individual Teresa reaction shots. Why do we have a Teresa reaction shots? Because this was Teresa's plan all along. Now, the producers have decided that this secret cannot come out in Ireland because Melissa Gorga would have tore up the entire room, if not probably attacked Teresa in Ireland, right? And and Dolores has made it clear to production and everywhere, you ain't fucking up her money, tearing up all this shit up in Ireland, okay? My man is from here. He knows people from here. Whatever shenanigans you got going on, y'all ain't gonna be embarrassing me down to the lucky shades of Ireland, so don't be having no bullshit pop off, right? So Dolores already said that she ain't fucking up her money up in Ireland having no fight. And the producers have decided there is going to be a better time to reveal this information And that now the information is going to come out and it's going to be able to paint it as if Marge knew this horrible secret about Melissa and did not say anything, if not has been spreading it, right? All the while it comes out, Melissa gets obliterated, Joe's collateral damage, Marge ends up being obliterated, and Teresa and Jennifer Aiden get their revenge on Marge, and Teresa gets her revenge on Melissa. You're not going to be able to tell me any differently because I think this plan is unfolding, and I think that unfortunately Danielle has just been a unfortunate pawn in this situation. The other thing with Danielle, as I've been saying, is I like the fact that Danielle came into this experience just wanting to be herself and wanting to just kind of show who she was. The problem is that she underestimated the level of gameplay with these women, and this little goop with the whole rat thing with Marge, she should have deaded this the first time it came about, right? But the problem is, I think she's just, because what the truth is, she was having a moment with Rachel being like, ooh, girl, I don't know who to trust. Can I trust this person? Can I trust that person? And the producer saw that and was like, gotcha, can't trust these bitches. And that's how it happened, right? So Danielle's mistake was she shouldn't have opened her mouth about what she thought about any of these people unless it was someone who was verifiably safe, right? And the problem is, none of these chicks are safe. None of them do it because their favorite pastime, they have PhDs in, this just happened last night, let me tell you what happened yesterday, let me tell you what happened, boop, boop, boop. That is the easiest goop to get in on these reality shows. So you have to be able to watch what you say, who you say, and whatever. And the fact is that if Danielle had reservations about Marge, she should have kept them to herself and just said it in a confessional, right? Don't tell the chicks, tell the confessional. Be like, you know what, they came to me to talk about Marge. I don't know, there may be something to that. But she really thought her and Rachel Fuda were going to play the neutral Switzerland game. And the fact is, Fuda's like, haha, bitch, I still want my money. And you got, right? And I feel bad because I think a lot of Danielle's anger and confusion is coming from the fact that she doesn't understand how she keeps getting caught up in this rat, want to tell a thing. And it's just an easy fight because it gets Marge in, then it brings Jennifer Aiden in, and then Rachel Fuda's in. And you notice how kind of like Teresa and Dolores are kind of like referees, like, okay, that's fair, that's out of bounds, whatever like that, right? So it's just too much easy of a mess on something that could have been just deaded all the way around, right? So this has just been a trap for Danielle from the beginning, and I don't know whether she does not know the gravity of this trap, but this was a trap for Danielle all along with this whole Laura bombshell, and it's not going to end up turning out well at the end because everybody who's connected with this rumor is going to end up going to catch something from it because there is a difference between circulating innuendo or a vicious rumor and circulating a fact, right? Marge told a fact about Bill. Marge was repeating facts about Louis. We don't know if this rumor is true because we cannot verify whether or not what was told to Marge is true. Ergo, my conversation last week about hearsay and colloquial hearsay. Go back and watch it to understand the difference. Now, anyway, the bus ride. Now, this is the bus ride to Ireland on the way to shopping. I have to say was one of the best reality television moments I have seen in a very long time. This is what reality television producers and editors and executive producers want, a scene after scene. You really had a perfectly constructed scene from top to bottom that had authenticity, that had vulnerability, that had natural conflict, and that really kind of carried an arc from beginning to the end. And it was minimally produced, not a whole lot of prodding. There is kind of one little questionable part in it, but this bus ride was really what reality television should be, scene after scene after scene after scene, right? You start off with a moment, the ladies reveal, share authentic stories, you get a confessional, you get a flashback, you get the continuing conflict, and then by the end of the scene, everybody's in a very different place than where they started from. Excellent construction, masterfully done. I wish we saw more of this just across reality television board. So let's get how it starts, right? So we start off with the fact that Jen Fessler reveals that her husband cheated on her. And then I get really mad at the producers, right? I was like, Jen Fessler's husband cheated on her? They had a whole ass entanglement for 2 years. She had a boyfriend and a husband, and then she's cheating on the boyfriend back with the husband. This should have been a point. This should have been something that they should have flushed out. And I would have far rather them flush this conversation out with Jen Fessler than talk about this whole rap bullshit with Danielle and Rachel Fuda, right? I thought that this was just a great moment because it led into the talking about infidelities and Dolores sharing her story and, all the women talking about it, and Teresa confirming what I had said many years ago was that the end of her marriage with Joe was when her mother became sick and passed because she blamed Joe for all the missing time she missed with her husband, right? And so having all the women talk about like infidelity, for better, for worse, like judge them or however you want to judge them for them saying, excuse me, whether or not infidelity was a deal breaker. And I just thought it was just a beautiful moment of television, right? So then, this is where my little dog eyebrow raises up. So we have this conversation about infidelity, and Rachel Fuda asked Teresa, all the girls are her girls and, Joe and Melissa's children close, period. Why would Rachel Fuda ask Teresa when she could just ask Melissa, right? I feel as if, I feel like, again, Rachel Fuda is playing a higher level of game than we're giving her credit for, right? Because I think that, as Melissa said, Melissa's answer would have been dramatically different than Teresa's answer. And either the producers told her to ask Teresa, or she instinctively knew who to ask to get the bullshit stirred up, right? But I'm not really thinking it was just a genuine oopsie-doopsie, I'll just ask Teresa. Because you should have known, because you already know on Jump that everybody's not really getting along, right? So you know that Teresa feels some sort of way, and that, Melissa feels some sort of way, and that the least acrimonious answer would have come from Melissa. So I'm going to cut the call foul and throw a flag on Rachel Fuda for that way. But I do say, like Dolores said again, with her MVP status again, is that the children thing was out of line. Fuda shouldn't have asked the question, and Teresa's answer was not tight enough. She should have, if she felt some sort of way about Antonia not showing up, she should have said, yeah, the kids are close, there've been some kind of mishaps. Melania was very kind of upset about Antonia not going, but I don't think that's a big issue. I just know that may be something that we may need to address something. She could have cleaned that up a lot better. And for the record, Gia was mad-ass disrespectful to Joe and Melissa, and you're not going to tell me anyway, because nobody is going to should let their child talk to their grown-ass sibling who's old enough to be their parent the way Gia talked to Joe. And you're not going to make me tell me anyway differently. Yes, she's an adult, but there is a hierarchy and a respect level you should be giving to your parents and to their siblings. And if Gia is rightfully mad with her uncle, there was a way in which she could have displayed her anger without being mad-ass disrespectful. And the reason she was disrespectful is because she sees how her mother talks about and to her brother, and she knew it was going to be okay. Gia would have never have talked to Joe that way if she knew Teresa was going to be her ass after he said it. Or if Teresa would have jumped and said, you don't talk to your uncle like that. Fix your words, fix your face, fix your mouth. She did it because she knew her mother would be okay with it, and you ain't gonna tell me anything differently. So anyway, they go shopping, and then we just realize that more and more that this whole Danielle has gotten herself in a trap, and Teresa and Melissa's feeling some sort of way, right? She's feeling some sort of way about the Antonia comment because there's this unspoken rule in Jersey, or really across most of the franchises, that kids get left out of it. Now, Teresa is kind of backpedaling and pussy popping, talking about, well, she asked the question, I had to give an honest answer. Nah, you just won't miss an opportunity to give it to Melissa and Joe. Teresa will not miss an opportunity to give it to Melissa and Joe, however she wants to do it, very backhanded. Because when Melissa said, well, okay then, that's kind of like when Gabriella missed Gino's communion, immediately Teresa goes, this one with the tit for tat. Well, that's what the tit for tat is for, right? If you're saying that your daughter was hurt because her cousin didn't show up to her Sweet 16, but your child didn't go to their cousin's communion, and Joe and Melissa didn't say anything to you about your child, it literally is the same thing. And what Melissa has been doing, to her credit, is not letting it bother her, but it just gets old because no one is able to really like turn the proverbial mirror on Teresa and be like, this is your behavior, this is what she's doing. Teresa's able to really kind of wiggle out of this by saying, I'm just being honest, I'm just saying what it is, they're just doing this, as opposed to really being like, I don't fuck with you, right? If Teresa would come out and just say every time, girl, I don't fuck with you, don't try me, you know what? Melissa, like, look, girl, I don't fuck with you, like, just keep it moving, right? If Teresa was to take that stance with Melissa, then that whole relationship would be better. Then Melissa would know how to move. But every time it's like, no, we're fine, no, we're not, no, we're good, no, we're not. And she's doing this cha-cha all the time with Teresa. Well, Teresa just don't fuck with Melissa. She just doesn't fuck with her. And the whole world can see it. Helen Keller can see it. So why do you just keep acting like that? Because Melissa was right. If you wanted the kids to see an example of closeness, you'd have invited her to be in the wedding, be a bridesmaid, be like, this is what family is. No matter what problems we have, we always stick together, and this is what we do. But Teresa sings the song, she just can't dance the dance, right? And that's what it is. She wants everyone all the loyalty, but at the end of the day, she just can't dance the dance because she just doesn't fuck with Melissa. And that's okay. Stop acting like you do, or quit acting like it's okay. Just be like, I just don't fuck with you. And I don't have to, right? And that's okay. So anyway, the girls are having lunch and they're talking and they're all getting hyped up because Dolores may get married or whatever. And Dolores is like, well, I don't really want to have, a wedding. And once again, the camera action is really good in this episode because every time Teresa's wedding comes up, shot to Teresa, shot to Melissa, shot to Jennifer Aiden. Why Jennifer Aiden? Because Jennifer Aiden is literally the emotions that Teresa wants to make, but Teresa's knows this game too well. So Teresa has her poker face, and Jennifer Aiden, who's still new to this, is giving you all the deep slurps and the big eyes and all this stuff because she loves the messiness, because she loves the fact of somehow she is hopscotched over Melissa to like to Teresa's best friend spot. But if she's been watching this show, she knows that best friend spot with Teresa ain't a good spot to be in, right? Because Jennifer Aiden can't fight. And the only people that Teresa is really going to respect is somebody who can whoop her ass. Ergo, why she had it with Dolores, right? And when she did have that skirmish with Dolores, it was quick and easy because Dolores stays 10 toes down ready to rumble and tumble, right? So we'll see. But anyway, Dolores like, I just want to run and get married. I was like, girl, you can't run away and get married. Bravo would fire you. Ergo, the whole Kenya Moore situation. So if you do get married and run away, that's probably going to be your last episode ever on Bravo because they would never have you there anyway. So we get back and Melissa calls Joe. And I have to say, Melissa could have really made the conversation with Teresa a lot worse than what it was. But she kind of described the situation. So I don't know. Again, the Battle of Gorgas just will pop up. I feel like they're like hemorrhoids, right? It just flares up at any random moment. Like you just sit there and you're having chicken satay, Battle of the Gorgas, And so it's just going to keep going. So I was just like, child, here we go. So the trap continues at dinner and Danielle and this whole rat situation. And I think Rachel Fuda's like, okay, I got my little storyline. I can keep running this rat thing. When Danielle needs to dead it, being like, look, bitch, I called you a rat. I said what I've said. I'm not going to apologize for it. If you feel some way about it, move the fuck on. Don't talk to me about it again, right? That's all she has to do. Producer be like, no, I'm done with the rat bitch. Have the bitch talk about something else. I'm not keep doing this, right? Because the fact is, Danielle keeps getting tripped up and getting boxed in because she has Rachel on one side, she has Marge on another, then Jennifer Aiden comes into her defense, and then Teresa's sitting in the wing, and it's just a hot mess when the fact is you're just gonna be like, whatever. Then we had Jennifer Aiden and the Buggle situation. Like Rachel says, she's been saving that Jennifer Esther said it, like she's been saving it for a while to use at Marge. And the fact is that Marge's mouth is lethal. She has a very, very lethal mouth. So I really can appreciate the fact that she went and she apologized to Jennifer Aiden for calling her a disheveled drunk, for calling her a disheveled drug addict. She apologized for the drug addict part because Marge is like, she really does look disheveled. And Marge is just hilarious. But I mean, I get it. Like, Marge is, you know, she knows what this gameplay is like, right? So, once again, Dolores, chairman of the board, Catania, is like, y'all done embarrassed me down in this restaurant. Y'all bitches ain't getting no dessert. Grab you a McDonald's Hot Pocket hot apple pie on the way home. No dessert. Y'all screaming. Y'all yelling. It's over. Dinner's done. Let's go. Like, she was like, nope, no dessert. Dolores has been very clear this entire string. You ain't gonna embarrass me down in Ireland. I may be getting married here, and I don't want nobody throwing no leprechaun juice on my white wedding dress because y'all done came up and showed y'all asses. I thought it was hilarious. So anyway, that's my review. Let me know what you think. Drop down in the comments. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.